Hey everyone, my name is James Yochum. I'm a certified public accountant and owner of Corridor Consulting. We help small business owners and real estate investors and professionals get into compliance with the Internal Revenue Service and their state taxing agencies. And we also help them navigate tax resolution issues, tax debt issues, bookkeeping, accounting, and tax planning and tax preparation. Today, I just wanted to overview a critical question we get a lot from prospective clients and just in general to new entrepreneurs starting a business is a bookkeeper the same thing as an accountant or a CPA? And what one do I need? What one would better serve me? And how to navigate those issues in determining who should you pay? Should you pay a bookkeeper or should you pay an accountant? Ultimately, we believe that you need both. They need to work as a team, and I'll explain that to you. This is a post that we just did on X. You can join our community on X, the Corridor of Wealth. If you go on to X, you can click the link below to ask to be invited to the group, and then you ask or answer a question, and we can give you access to the group, and you'll have access to me and the team at Corridor Consulting to help you navigate issues with your business, your rentals, or even some of your tax debt issues. So let's move on. Let's look at this article that we had just written. We've got this posted on our Corridor of Wealth group. We'll be posting articles here pretty frequently, and we're hoping for some communication and feedback on these articles and our ability to help you navigate any of those questions you may have when you read it. So, kind of a general overview, a bookkeeper basically is going to be recording transactions. They're going to be doing your invoicing, payroll, or reconciling. Now, a thing that is a little bit confusing about this is software has gotten pretty good at doing most of these things for bookkeepers. A lot of people will have a front end for their business, and it basically be a software as a service provider that will be handling basically all of the invoicing, all of the payments, recording the transactions, maybe even some accounts receivable, some accounts payable. And so a majority of that bookkeeping piece, so to speak, can be done with software. You may still have instances to where you're going to need a bookkeeper to operate that software, or potentially you just use an administrative assistant to do your invoicing through the software, do your payroll through the software, and then have that bookkeeper take care of reconciling. Now, typically, bookkeepers are going to get into the accounting area, whether or not they are able to do a good job of that is probably going to depend on their prior history and their education. If they have accounting knowledge, if they know debits and credits, if they know how to read financial statements, if they know how to do financial analysis, if they know some rudimentary business tax issues, it's a good idea because what they put on the financial statements will be used by your tax preparer, and they will need to communicate with your tax preparer about your transactions, what they consist of, in order for the tax preparer to determine whether you're taking all of your deductions, whether you're taking deductions that are actually deductions. A lot of times we run into the fact that we'll get bookkeeping from an entity, and they will be deducting most of the stuff that we can't deduct on the tax return, and so we need some more information. So if the client is taking a mileage deduction for vehicles, then we cannot take insurance, gas, and all the other ordinary expenses of operating that vehicle as well, because we're taking the standard mileage deduction. So that has to be adjusted out. The only way the accountant is going to know that those tolls are in there is if they're listed as, business fuel, business auto insurance, things like that. So it's good to have your bookkeeper and accountant on the same page for those issues. So you may have a bookkeeper who is also preparing the financial statements, doing some of these accounting issues for you, and that's likely going to be somebody who also does have some accounting experience. So you can find a bookkeeper and accountant that isn't a CPA. who can do these things for you, but the level of detail and integration is going to be capped by their knowledge. So at Corridor Consulting, what we do is we try to get all this under one house. Essentially, when your bookkeeper gets done with doing the data entry, or your software, your admin assistant, we go in and we basically do the accounting portion for you to make sure that that information is indeed accurate, it's been flowing correctly. We ensure that the setup in the software is actually communicating correctly to the general ledger in the accounting software such as QuickBooks Online. So we're really looking for those transaction irregularities that we've got listed here. Then we go through and we review the reconciliations that are done by the bookkeeper to ensure that everything is actually correct, that there are no additional entries being made to hide any reconciliation discrepancies. And if there is an entry, we make sure that it checks and it looks good, and there's nothing that you as the business owner should be concerned about. If something comes along and that happens, we immediately reach out to the business owner. Typically, maybe once a month for some of the issues that we're seeing, if they're not super catastrophic, big issue that's going to cause issues for the business down the line. We try to keep our communications pretty on the point so we're not bothering you as the business owner. So we will look at those reconciliations and let you know if there's any issues with those every month, because they're typically done every month by your bookkeeper. That's primarily because you want to get that financial statement data as soon as possible to be able to make decisions, and then you have the rest of the time to reconcile those issues throughout the month and get further information, because you could very well be in a situation to where there is an issue that is going to be ongoing for a week or two, trying to figure out what actually happened within the software, QuickBooks, with your bookkeepers, or any other admin assistants that are in your system, to be able to sort that out. So we don't want to delay getting you financial statements until we reconcile all of the accounts, because issues just happen, and if there's an issue that is that important or that far off, we'll actually be able to catch that in the financial analysis in the income statement and balance sheet by comparing it to prior months and then year-to-date totals. So nothing should be catastrophic. If it is, we'll catch it in those analyses, and we'll basically let you know that, and we'll tell you there's a reconciliation issue. And at a top level, an accountant can actually pretty much figure out the end impact of the issue a lot quicker than what a bookkeeper would be able to do to fix it and then for you to see the end output. So that's another reason that you would want to have a bookkeeper and an accountant on your team. So once that financial analysis is done, basically you've got your data that you can use to make managerial decisions, to hire new employees, to get new customers, new clients, and basically tell you what is the best use of your time and the time of your employees. And that allows you to basically figure out where you should drive your business, what's earning you the most profit, not necessarily the most revenue. It depends on what your goals are and where you would like to go, cash flow wise, revenue wise. A lot of people look at their top end, but really, if you're focused on growing your business, reinvesting your money, cash flow is great, but also profit is the main goal. And with profit comes tax issues. So those financial statements, the financial analysis, all that data is going to go into your tax planning, and you're going to have a tax plan that is going to hopefully meet your goals and guide you to where you want to go based on the financial analysis. And then ultimately you've got the tax return preparation, which should flow along with the prior year tax planning. Now, typically what's going to happen for somebody starting off, they're going to hire a bookkeeper, or they're going to have software that's going to do the entry and all of the back end into a general ledger system like QuickBooks Online. Once that is done, typically owners are going to try to find a tax preparation shop. and they'll either find somebody who is a paid preparer that does not have any college education credentials in business or accounting. They may find a enrolled agent who does not also have any college accreditation or education in accounting, or there are a few EAs who do have that. So if you are looking at an enrolled agent, I would highly suggest that you ask them if they've had any prior accounting courses, any business courses, if you are a business owner, because it does come in handy when your tax preparer and your tax planner knows the language of business, whether it be looking at the financial statements, looking at general ledger issues. It helps you have basically another layer of security, some more eyes on your business to let you know that maybe there's an issue there that you didn't think about. But ultimately, you're guaranteed to have somebody with a college education in accounting and business if you approach a certified public accountant. They have a strict requirement of pretty much 5 years of schooling, 4 years of undergrad, 1 year of a master's to be able to even sit and take the CPA exam in most states. And then they need 2 years of experience, at least in Iowa, to attain their CPA licensure in order to practice. So by hiring a CPA, you're going to get the top level business guidance, tax guidance, and financial statement analysis that you need as a business owner, and that typically corporations receive when they have a finance staff and a CFO. But with that said, obviously hiring a CPA is a higher expense because they are going to be covering a wide array of issues for you and your business. But that's also why it's super important to have an accountant, because like we say in this article, the bookkeeper's work needs to be accurate. And in order for you to prevent fraud and any other business issues that lead to inaccurate statements, and your ability to basically get accurate data to make decisions is really triggered on a good accountant looking at that data and making it available to you and easy to understand. And if that data is wrong and you take it to a tax preparer who isn't looking at it, or reviewing it, or understanding it, you likely will be triggering some tax issues and potentially tax audits. You'll be getting notices in the mail for issues that may not be accurate, or if you do get caught up in an audit for one issue and the auditor starts asking questions about auto expenses, standard mileage deductions, bonus depreciation issues, asset purchases, de minimis expense deductions for purchases, you're going to want to have all that stuff documented correctly. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, people who just have a bookkeeper and a tax preparer who doesn't have that knowledge, they run into issues. And when they run into issues, they usually approach Corridor Consulting, and we help them through tax resolution with the IRS and the state taxing authorities, whether it be income taxes or sales and use tax. We've pretty much covered the gambit with most of the entrepreneurs that approach us after they learn that they should have approached an accountant way earlier. So that being said, you really do need a bookkeeper as soon as possible when you can justify it. Bookkeepers, the cost is pretty low. Bookkeeper in this regard could be software, as I stated earlier, could be administrative assistant, could be a relative who actually works for you, works with you, or somebody who just needs a second job. If you can train them on the software and systems that you have in place, and they can use that, and you feel confident in reviewing the input and the output, it's a great place to start, because it removes you from the day-to-day grind of entering the data, doing the data entry in the software, doing the administrative functions like answering the phone, setting up appointments if you're a service business. We highly recommend that you have somebody on your team who can do that and do the bookkeeping. And the great thing about that today is all this stuff's on the cloud. You can get your administrative assistant to do this at home if you want to pay them for at home for remote work. You can get a laptop and have them give access to that. And it can be done off business hours. So if you want to staff your admin assistant from 8 to 5, and you say, hey, I really want you to do the back end bookkeeping or invoicing, if you could do that every Saturday in the morning, you can give them a laptop, send them home, and have them do that Saturday mornings, and they can earn some extra cash. QuickBooks Online is something we recommend widely to all business owners just because it has been around for such a long time. It is a good tool. A lot of people have experience on it. And as far as the tech goes, it's widely available, easy to use, and there's lots of training out there. I'll include a link in this video to a link for 70% off of QuickBooks for 3 months. If you click it, it'll essentially take you to this page, and this ends on the 8th of July. So I would click it, take advantage of it, get set up. The most important thing about this is that you get in there and you just go in and you link your bank account, your business bank account. Make sure you link your business bank account and not your personal bank account. If you do not have a business banking account, get a business banking account. Keep everything separate. If you have this linked in there and you're doing all of your business transactions out of the account, QuickBooks will have all that data in there, and whoever you decide to go to, whether it be a year from now, if you do not file anything, to 2 years from now, the data will be in QuickBooks. It'll be available for the accountant or the bookkeeper to use to sort out. And that's highly important before you do anything. Get those bank feeds linked if that's all you're going to do. We've had clients come to us 3 years after starting their business, and they have not been set up for sales taxes. They have not paid any income taxes. They have linked their accounts in QuickBooks, and essentially that's all they've done. And that has helped tremendously cut down on some of the bills for the accounting and makes our job a little bit easier when everything is segregated to just that business account and not also personal accounts. Click the link below, get that code off for QuickBooks Online. Even after this date, there'll be a special. It'll probably be 30% off for 3 months. Right now it's 70% off. It's a great time to use it. So we've covered the bookkeepers. When should you hire an accountant like Corridor Consulting? I would say you need to hire an accountant like Corridor Consulting when you're spending basically your hourly rate, your gross revenue rate per hour that you earn working on your business or in your business, times however many hours you're spending navigating these issues, whether it be taxes, financial statements, managerial accounting, determining profitability, tax planning, tax preparation. Log all your time in these issues and multiply it by your hourly rate that you could be using when you are working on your business. You will find very quickly that if you take that time and you apply it to sales for your business, we're basically giving you an infinite return, so to speak, on your time, because if you can leverage your time to sell your business and your products, you will easily pay for the time that it takes us to do your work and to do it regularly and to do it with expertise, because that's what we do all day, every day for our clients. And that's what we have our licensure for as a certified public accountant. We're required to take 40 hours of continuing education a year, every year. And this is essentially our job. It's to help you and to be a public servant to commerce. But the reality is that a lot of the times the amount you are earning currently per hour is lower than what it costs for an accountant to do all of the stuff you're doing in the year for your business. And so that's really where you just need to look at it, need to analyze it a little bit, but bare minimum, focus on your revenue earning potential, focus on sales, focus on marketing, get that revenue up, and ensure that you're reserving enough for taxes, which these days it's about 33% for entrepreneurs. If you're doing really well as an entrepreneur, it's higher than that, but bare minimum, I would say 33% is a good metric when you incorporate federal, state, and self-employment taxes. If you're starting off from the get-go and you're at a good financial position, I would recommend going to an accountant right away, especially if you're wanting monthly oversight of your bookkeeping and accounting, insightful information about managerial decisions, managerial accounting metrics, where you should be focusing your efforts or your staff's efforts, and any assistance with tax planning, preparation, or tax compliance issues, or dealing with just the IRS sending you letters asking for more information, or negotiating your tax debt to be put on a payment plan with the IRS when you encounter cash flow issues. All of those issues we deal with at Corridor Consulting, and we help business owners and real estate investors navigate them. So in summary, the more money you make, the more your accountant will pay for themselves. That's pretty simply it. It's not just going to be in tax savings. It's going to be in financial oversight, preventing fraud, implementing internal controls, basically deterring any theft, financial theft from you and the business. And it will also come through financial consulting, look at those managerial accounting metrics and seeing what drives your top line revenue and what drives your bottom line revenue, and figuring out, well, maybe you're selling something that really drives the top line, but it's actually negative bottom line and it's eating into your profits. So that's when it's critical to approach an accountant, because the amount of time you're going to be spending trying to navigate that and understand that stuff is going to be detrimental to your business. And that is why a lot of business owners fail. They do not focus on what they are good at. They focus on all the other issues for running a business before they have that sales process set up, that marketing process set up, and really have a team built on that. And that's why you should have a team built for your accounting as well as your bookkeeping and all of your general ledger backend, to basically have a strong foundation to make good financial decisions and to grow your wealth. So if you found this video helpful, I highly recommend that you get on X. You check out Consult Corridor X handle, and you subscribe to the Corridor of Wealth. I'll leave a link in the bottom. This is a new community that we've started to help entrepreneurs, small business owners, real estate investors navigate the world of business, accounting, and taxes. If you've got any questions, comment below, join the group, post a question, you'll probably get an answer. Thanks for watching.